What's going on, everyone? This is Bobby Douglas, and welcome to my official 2024 NBA Draft Big Board Reveal. I spent the last 3 months really digging into the tape on all of these guys, watching them play, looking at stats, things like that, and now I'm ready to finally reveal my top 60 for this class. Just a few notes before we get started. First, 60 players is a lot to cover in one video, so I might not be going as in-depth on some of these guys. If you have any questions about any of the players that I've listed or any omissions, things like that, please let me know in the comments. I'll respond to every single one of you and would love to have deeper conversations about these prospects. And number two, I just wanted to give you a brief rundown of what my tiers look like. So tier 1 is going to be realistic All-NBA upside guys. Tier 2 is going to be fringe All-NBA / high-end All-Stars. Tier 3 is going to be fringe All-Stars. Tier 4 is going to be high upside quality playoff caliber starters. Tier 5 is going to be low-end starters / high-end rotation guys. Think of guys who would be like the 5th through 7th option on a solid NBA team. Tier 6 are mid-level rotation / C division guys. What I mean here is that mid-level rotation is obviously going to be guys 8 through 9 in a rotation. And C division guys, these are players who I have concerns about their NBA floor, but they have some level of upside where I could see them working out. Tier 7 is low-end rotation / weird upside guys. These are guys who I think either top out at getting limited minutes in the NBA or players who I think have some upside, whether it be physicality or athleticism, but I just am not sure about their overall chances to reach that potential. And then finally, Tier 8 is going to be two-way deal bets. These are guys who I kind of like in college or overseas or things like that, but just I'm not really sure about their overall NBA viability. So with those tiers established, I'll get into my big board. To start, I have no players in this class in Tier 1 or Tier 2. I just didn't really like anybody that much in this year's class, especially at the top. I think the 2024 class has decent depth, but overall it is lacking that top tier talent. For reference, last year I had 4 guys in those top 2 tiers. Obviously Victor Wembanyama, who I actually put in his own separate tier, but then I had Scoot Henderson as my lone Tier 1 player with realistic All-NBA upside. And then in Tier 2, I had Brandon Miller and Amen Thompson as guys who could be fringe All-NBA / high-end All-Stars. In Tier 3, I had 3 players, Cason Wallace, Anthony Black, and Cam Whitmore. So just keep that in mind as I'm going through this, that basically in this draft, we're starting at a Cason Wallace, Anthony Black, Cam Whitmore level prospect, as opposed to a Wembanyama level or a Scoot Henderson level. So to start in Tier 3, which is fringe All-Stars, I have 4 players. Leading my 2024 class is Ron Holland, a 6'8 wing from the Ignite program. There's been a lot of rumors about a draft slide for him, but overall I really buy the athletic tools, the motor, and the defensive upside. The scoring and overall lack of half-court skill worries me, but at the end of the day, averaging around 19 points a game on a G League Ignite team that had one of the most flawed rosters I've ever seen, I think makes up for a little bit of that. He just found ways to be productive, and so I'll bet on the tools here with the number 1 overall pick. At 2, I have Alex Sarr as a really switchable 7'1" big. I have concerns about his offensive role, but his defense and ability to really guard 1 through 5 gives him a very high floor, and then obviously the ball handling flashes, the shooting, if those come around, then you're looking at a really, really high level player. At 3, I have Donovan Clingan as just a behemoth 7'2" center who can have a Gobert-like impact as a rim defender. I also really like his passing ability and his overall viability in modern offensive schemes. I think playing at UConn under Dan Hurley really helped him in that regard, and so I just think he's kind of a seamless fit for an NBA team, so I have him at 3. And then number 4, I have Devin Carter. This is the highest I've seen Carter, but I really just don't see any weaknesses in his game. We're talking about an elite athlete, a really high-level defender, someone who really carried the offensive load for Providence this year once Bryce Hopkins went out, improved as a shooter drastically, can hit shots off movement, plays off of 2 feet, can kind of impact the game in a variety of ways. And so while he maybe doesn't have the upside of some of these other guys, I really, really buy his NBA impact and can totally see him developing into one of those fringe all-stars that just know how to play. So moving on to Tier 4, which again, I define as high upside / quality playoff caliber starters. At 5, I have Stephon Castle. I really buy his on-ball defense and athleticism. I think he has great strength as a driver. Obviously, the shot is the biggest worry right now. I'm not sure if that ever comes around. If it does, you're looking at a great player. If it doesn't, then I struggle to see how he fits in a playoff type environment. But still, the athletic tools, the defense, the motor, put him at 5 for me. 6, I have Zachary Risacher from France. I'm not really sold on the ceiling of Risacher, but at 6 in a rather weak draft, I really like the floor he provides with his size, shooting ability, and defensive versatility. At 7, I have Isaiah Collier, again, someone I'm a little bit higher on than the consensus. I really buy his ability to get into the paint and create shots for himself and others. The measurements at the combine were concerning. I thought he was bigger than he measured, but still, I really like the bully ball style of play. I think he has one of the highest ceilings when it comes to passing and getting downhill in the class, so to me, that's a top 7 player here. At 8, I have Modest Buzelis as someone who has a great intersection of size and skill. I just worry about the shot and his overall viability on the ball. I thought he was pretty weak with the ball at Ignite, and so if he can't really shoot off the ball and can't really play on the ball, I struggle to see where he fits. Still, the help side defense and overall size give him a lot of leeway here. At 9, I have Deron Holmes out of Dayton, just a really skilled big man, can pass, can post up, can rebound, can block shots, can shoot the 3. So overall, I think he's really tailor-made to fit in an NBA offense. At 10, I have Tristan da Silva. Similar to Deron Holmes, I just think his versatility really stands out. This is a 6'8 wing who can dribble, pass, shoot, defend multiple positions, play multiple positions on offense, and I really just buy the overall versatility of skill here. At 11, I have Reed Shepherd, one of the best shooting prospects we've seen. I have some questions about his overall on-ball impact, given his lack of size and lateral fluidity, but still the hand-eye coordination, the off-ball defense, the lights-out shooting, and the poise he played with on offense makes him a lottery grade for me. At 12, I have Cody Williams. I like his tools. He has great length. I'm just worried that he's not assertive enough to carve out a role immediately. Could be a little bit of a developmental project once he gets into the league. Still, the size, the tools, the length, combined with his skill and his ability to finish at the rim, makes him a lottery-worthy player in this class. At 13, I have Yves Missi from Baylor. Super intriguing big man, great athlete, great rim runner. I actually also came away impressed with his ability to handle in the mid-post. I think he has a speed advantage among other bigs in the NBA, and he kind of just becomes one of the more unique athletes in the class. So I have him at the tail end of the lottery here. And then at 14 and rounding out tier 4 is Nikola Topic. Obviously, the shooting is a concern, the injuries are a concern, but he's one of the best pick-and-roll playmakers and drivers in the class. I'm willing to bet on those skills translating at this point in the draft, despite the athletic, defensive, and shooting concerns. Moving on to tier 5, low-end starters / high-end rotation. I only have 7 players in this tier, starting with Dalton Knecht at 15, who I just really buy as a 3-level scorer in the NBA in a reserve role. 16, Jonathan Mobo out of San Francisco, one of the best passers, rebounders, motor guys in the class, who I think could develop into like a Draymond Green, Joakim Noah hybrid type of player. 17, Jared McCain is a really high IQ guard who can shoot the lights out. I have worries about an off-ball role with him given his size, and I'm not sure he has on-ball juice to really play as a point guard in the NBA, but still the shooting, the intelligence gives him a nod in the top 20. 18, I have Zach Edey, betting on production here, 7'4". I think he's so unique and so dominant that he deserves to be taken in the first round. One of the most one-of-a-kind players we've seen given his size, strength, rebounding, scoring, and overall endurance. 19, Rob Dillingham. Obviously, the offense is electric, one of the better creators in the class. The ability to hit tough shots given his size is astounding. I just have real concerns about the defensive aspect, hence why I have him this low. At 20, I have Terrence Shannon Jr. I really like his bulldog driving style, and he really improved as a shooter during his time at Illinois. He's a warrior on the defensive end too, and at 6'6", with a stocky frame, I think he can really give teams a strong, versatile defender with the ability to deliver some on-ball creation as well. Rounding out tier 5, I have Enrique Freeman from Akron. Super high motor player, can shoot the 3 a little bit at 6'8". One of the best and most tenacious rebounders in the class. I wouldn't be surprised if he leads the league in flagrant fouls drawn just because of how annoying he is to constantly box out. He's always moving, always hustling. He's a very talented post scorer. He can pass a little bit, and so I think he does enough well combined with his motor to deliver first round level value. Moving on to tier 6, we have mid-level rotation / C division guys. And this is a really big tier from 22 to 42, so I'll just kind of run through these guys. 22, Melvin Ajinca, 6'8 lefty who plays hard and can develop into a movement shooter, I think that has value. 23, Jacoby Walter, 6'6 swingman from Baylor, who again, another movement shooter with some on-ball creation skills. 24, Tidjon Saloon. I'm lower on him than most. I just don't really see what makes him an NBA player right now, but still the athleticism, the tools, and the fluidity are definitely intriguing. 25, Harrison Ingram from North Carolina. I just like betting on big wings who can shoot at this point in the draft, and Harrison Ingram checks all those boxes. 26, Tyler Kolek, one of the best passers in the class, if not the best passer in the class, really by his finishing ability and overall ability to lead a reserve unit in the NBA. 27, Baylor Shireman out of Creighton. I buy his ability to shoot and create offense off of that shooting threat. I have concerns about him defensively, but overall, the dribbling, the passing, the shooting gets him on an NBA floor. 28, Oso Ighodaro out of Marquette. He really struggled in the NCAA tournament, but still at 6'9", he can move on the perimeter defensively, really solid passer, and can dominate in the short roll. 29, Jalen Tyson from Cal. At 6'7", he has legit ball skills. I just kind of struggle to see what position he plays in the NBA. The defense could have been a little bit better at Cal, but the size and ability to play in multiple positions kind of gives him some appeal here. 30, Jalen Wells from Washington State, one of the best off-the-dribble scorers in the class. I'm just not sure what else he does, but still just an absolute bucket. At 31, I have Johnny Furphy out of Kansas. I buy his ability to just kind of fit into any scheme given his 6'9" frame with the shooting. I'm just not sure there's a whole lot of upside here. At 32, I have Tyler Smith. I have real concerns with him defensively as a 6'11 big who kind of doesn't move very great, but he can shoot the three. He's very good at the rim. So offensively, I think he's a legit player. I just have him a little bit lower due to the defensive concerns. At 33, I have Kyle Filipowski, very skilled 7-footer from Duke. I just really worry about how he holds up defensively to the point where I think he could get played off the floor in playoff situations, so I'm naturally a little bit lower on him. 34, Carlton Carrington. I really like his pick and roll creation and ability to shoot off the dribble. The problem is that he really doesn't get to the rim a whole lot, and I'm not sure how viable that three-point shot is if he's playing in an off-ball role. 35, Khalil Ware, the big from Indiana, has a lot of athletic tools, good rebounder, good post scorer. I just am not sure the motor is constantly there with him. Definitely a top 15 player if you're going based on talent alone, but I'm just not really sure he's aggressive enough to really carve out a role. 36, Zion Poland from Florida, one of the best pick and roll creators in the class, who shot 44% from three this year and is a very solid on-ball defender. 37, Kevin McCullough, one of the best wing defenders in the class. I think he finds a role as a connective passer. Reminds me a little bit of Andre Iguodala, but obviously far less upside than that. 38, Ryan Dunn, maybe one of the best defenders in the class, can guard everywhere. The problem is I just don't see how he impacts the game offensively. Doesn't shoot, not super coordinated, and so I think he'll need some time to develop in the NBA. 39, Cam Spencer, probably the best shooter in the class. Elite off of movement, can pass, can make connections on the floor extremely well. So I'm willing to bet on someone like that despite the athletic limitations. At 40, I have KJ Simpson from Colorado. Elite at getting downhill off of ball screens. I just kind of have some worries about whether he plays the 1 or the 2 in the NBA given that he's only 6'2", but still very impactful player at Colorado. He's deserving of getting drafted. At 41, I have Antonio Reeves, one of the best off-ball scorers in the class. I think he has some real viability as a bench scorer. I wouldn't be surprised to see him outperform his draft stock. I just think the overall ceiling is lower due to his lack of defensive impact, but still one of the most electrifying scorers in the class. At 42, I have Cam Christie out of Minnesota. Very solid off-the-dribble shooter. I'm just not sure how else he impacts the game right away. I think he's maybe a year or two away from really being an NBA rotation player, but still intriguing tools at 6'6" combined with the shooting and defensive upside. So now we move into tier 7, which is low-end rotation / weird upside guys. Starting at 43, I have Jamal Shead, probably the best point of attack defender in the class. I just don't know how he plays without a reliable jump shot, given that he's only 6 feet tall. 44, Isaiah Crawford, 6'6", thick wing from Louisiana Tech. Really impactful on the defensive end. Also shot a very high percentage from 3. My issue is that he's on the older side, and he also has some injury concerns dating back to his early collegiate days. 45, I have Trey Alexander. I like Trey Alexander if he can really develop into a point guard in the NBA. He did average around 5 assists per game last year at Creighton, but I'm just not entirely sold on his ability to operate in ball screens. I love the mid-range shooting. I think he has legit defensive tools given his length, but I'm not sure how viable he is as an off-ball threat given his inconsistency from behind the three-point line. At 46, I have Jalen Bridges as a 6'7" wing who can knock down shots. I think he's a little bit too skinny to play on the wing, so he needs to add strength, but the shooting is legit, so I could see him playing some valuable minutes off the bench. At 47, I have Adem Bona from UCLA. Very hard playing big man. I just kind of struggle to see what he does offensively. I'm not sure he's big or quick enough to be a full-time lob threat, and I don't think he has the post skills to be someone who commands a lot of touches down low, but still the overall energy and effort he plays with is really impressive. At 48, I have Dylan Jones from Weber State. He has a lot of awesome auxiliary skills. I love the passing. The rebounding is all great. He averaged 20 points a game in college. I'm just not sure how he can really separate in the NBA combined with his lack of three-point shooting. At 49, I have Tristan Newton, one of the best point guards in college basketball this year. Super impactful in a lot of different phases. The worry with him is that he's never been a reliable three-point shooter, and he's not that explosive of an athlete, so I'm just not sure what he does well enough to get minutes on an NBA floor. Still, I wouldn't be surprised to see him as a backup point guard for an NBA team as early as next year. At 50, I have Isaiah Stevens, again, one of the best point guards in the country this year. Phenomenal passer, has the game on a string, never makes mistakes, can score in the mid-range. Obviously, the size is a concern. He's listed at 5'11", so defensively, I'm not sure how he holds up, but still, he's just so intelligent with the ball that I think he deserves a shot. And at 51, I have Keyshawn George from Miami. Super intriguing tools at 6'8", who shot 40% from three this year. I'm just not sure how else he impacts the game. I don't think he's good enough to have the ball in his hands constantly. I'm not really sure what he does off the ball outside of stand and shoot. So while I do like him, I think he could have used another year in college before entering the draft. And finally, tier 8, we have two-way bets. Starting at 52 with Nikola Djurisic, who I think is a really skilled 6'8" wing. He can operate in pick and roll situations. I just have some concerns about the shot and overall defensive viability. At 53, I have Bobby Klintman, who played at Wake Forest before going to the NBL this past season. Intriguing athletic tools. I'm just not really sure what his NBA skill is. At 54, I have Justin Edwards, former 5-star recruit, had an up and down season at Kentucky. If he can hit shots at the NBA three-point line, then there's maybe a role for him, but still, even with that, I have some athletic concerns that put him this low on my board. 55, I have Pacome Dadier, who played in Germany this past season. Really intriguing scorer at 6'6", but I'm just not sure what else he does. This to me represents a stash play. 56, I have AJ Mitchell from UC Santa Barbara. Very solid point guard, very good passer. I'm just not entirely sure how he holds up athletically. At 57, I have Keyshawn Johnson out of Arizona. Thick 6'7" wing, who I think could be employed usefully as a wing stopper. I just wish he was a little bit more versatile defensively and a little bit quicker. 58, I have Juan Nunez. Very crafty and intelligent guard, makes very solid passes. I'm just not sure who he guards in the NBA. And he also struggled as a three-point shooter. At 59, I have A.J. Johnson, who played with the Illawarra Hawks of the NBL last year after deciding to decommit from Texas. Very toolsy guard, who at 6'7" offers a lot of athletic upside. He just hasn't really put it together yet. And then finally, at 60, I have Ulrich Chomche as a 6'11" big who's super raw, but definitely has intriguing tools and is for sure worth monitoring on the two-way market. And yeah, that'll wrap up my official 2024 NBA Draft Big Board. I know I sped through a lot of these players in the interest of time, so please, if you have any questions about where anyone is ranked, don't hesitate at all to drop a question in the comments. I'll respond to all of them. Thanks so much to everyone watching, and please give me your thoughts below.